Tony D and Little Joan and guest dog Stella sleep in the sunbeam, and this is a screenwriter's rant on The Dutchman, a psychological thriller about a dude who bangs some random hot chick and pays a steep price. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 18. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited. It is free. Now, this is a little bit like Fatal Attraction kind of, deal where he's going through a bad time in his marriage. I think his wife cheated on him, and the marriage counselor suggests, well, would it be even if you cheated on her? And then very soon after, he meets this hot redhead on a subway, ends up having sex with her, but she turns out to be a total nightmare. A total nightmare. Kate Mara, I think, is the only one I recognize on that list. Only in theaters, January 2nd. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all. It looks like it takes place in New York. So I'm not sure the deal here. I guess first act, he's having marriage problems, and his marriage counselor makes that suggestion. And at first he's like, no, I'm not interested in that. But it's clear, like, things are not going well with his wife. Maybe they're headed for a divorce. But then he runs into this crazy hot chick on a subway. And she's like totally seducing him, takes off her panties, stuffs it in his pocket. He ends up going back to her place and railing her. But as it turns out, she is a total psychopath. For reasons I'm not quite clear on, she seems to know everything about him. Maybe it's part of some sort of honeypot situation where somebody's trying to manipulate him. He ends up being forced to take her to a party where things get weirder and weirder. At some point, his wife sort of comes into the mix and asks him what the hell's going on, tries to help him. The ending, I assume she ends up dead, and he ends up figuring out what the deal is. I don't know. The Dutchman sounds like the name of an old movie. Maybe this is a remake. Would I watch it? Here's the thing about psychological thrillers. There's often like once you've seen one, you kind of seen them all. The sort of go-to move is to make one of the characters crazy, which isn't a very satisfying payoff, right? Oh, it turns out she's crazy. That's why she did all this. Yeah, that's not really satisfying. The other explanations are usually super convoluted and not very clever, unless the screenwriter really drops some hints at the beginning of this thing that sort of come together like, oh, why didn't I see that? So it's very rare, I think, that these sorts of movies come together in a satisfying way. It's more of like you enjoy the ride, and then maybe the last 20 minutes of the movie, you're kind of like, all right, let's just wrap this up. And it turns into, a chase or a shootout, and the girl dies. But I don't know. It could be that the woman represents everything that's bad in his life, because there is a bit of psychological stuff going on in some of the trailer. It may be that he imagines it all sitting on a subway, and then it flashes back and he's just looking across the subway and seeing a hot redhead and kind of like nodding to her like, hey. that he didn't actually do anything. She's not actually that person. I mean, that's not a great ending either. Um, so Godspeed to you making this work. I wouldn't see it unless I saw some amazing reviews. I'd have to see some amazing reviews that said, "Oh yeah, you're never going to see this coming," and the payoff's unbelievable. It's got 12 comments here. Kate Mara looks beautiful in the movie. She looks appropriately sleazy for New York, I think. Another remake of a 60s movie, Shirley Knight and Al Freeman. There you go. So it is a remake. Awesome, totally awesome. See the original first with Al Freeman Jr. Description: a mysterious white woman. Is there ever going to be a time where a white woman and a black man can be in a movie about something other than them being a white woman and a black man? That is absolutely not what this movie's about. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with race. But thanks a lot for chiming in, guy who's making it racial. Uh, it is. Is it really that difficult to simply have a story with a black and white woman? Because you certainly don't have these problems with white men and black women. Let me guess before even pressing play. There's going to be a white dude who comes in between the two main characters who the movie is allegedly about, but there'll also be a black female because there's no way a black man can be talked about in a way that has anything to do with intimacy unless it's with a black female, right? Dude, you're missing the complete point of this movie. I would not listen to this comment at all. Seems to be a lot of that going around recently. Another comment says, typical. Typical of what? It's a psychological thriller. And the last one says GTA 6 for some reason. So a bit of a mixed review in the comments, but yeah, the name sort of rung like it was an old movie. Let's see what the IMDb says. So there's the Dutchman. Let's see if I can find the old one too. Oh, there was one in 2016. There's one in 2019. I'm not seeing. Oh, here we go. Dutchman, 1966. Let's see. With the provocation of her lovely half-naked body and strikingly lascivious speech, Lula, a sinister, neurotic white girl, lures to his doom Clay, a good-looking young black stranger, whom she has picked up on the subway and starts mocking for wearing clothes and employing the voice and manners of the conventional white intellectual. Oh, so the original one's very racial. At first, Clay sees no reason to resist Lula's advances. Only when it's too late does he realize she's using him, drops his white disguise, and launches into a wild, bitter counterattack on her and on the entire white race. I bet that's not how this one plays out. Let's see. Let's see what the 2025. Why would you even remake this movie? A successful black businessman haunted by the crumbling marriage and identity crisis. Yeah, this is a completely different movie. Is drawn into a sexualized game of cat and mouse with a mysterious woman on a subway that leads to a violent conclusion. Yeah, I don't think he's going after the entire white race in 2025. Director is Andre Gaines. Writers is Kasim Bashir, Andre Gaines, and Amiri Baraka. Okay. Seems like the original movie is very dated. Like, that was made in 1966, and reading that synopsis, that sounds like a movie from 1966. Like, race relations are, completely out of control in that movie. In this just seems like they just turned it into a taut psychological thriller. Might have some racial overtones in it, but I don't see it being the main character, going against the entire group of people. So It's weird, that comment. It's almost like that commenter saw the first movie and decided that this new version of it is probably going to be the same. I don't know why you would remake this movie. Why would you? I mean, it's got a good title. The Dutchman's a cool title, but I was expecting something else with a title like The Dutchman, right? I would expect, like, I don't know, it's about a ghost pirate or something on the Flying Dutchman ship. This should be like, I mean, why do you even need to remake the first movie? You, what can't you think of any first names for the characters? I mean, it seems like a pretty basic movie. Hot girl seduces a guy who's having a trouble with his marriage and then uses him for her own evil purposes. I mean, it's not like this movie hasn't been done before in different ways. So, I think it was dumb to remake this movie, especially if you're going to remake a movie and then make it so different it looks nothing like the first movie, and especially since the movie's from 1966. Like, what are you salvaging? What are you salvaging? You're not salvaging an audience. You're trying to get an audience from 60 years ago. All those people are in old folks' home. They're not. If they're going to go out to see The Dutchman, they're going to watch the original they saw back when they were teenagers, I guess. If they even saw it then. I mean, you're talking 1966. I was born in 1966. So, my parents might have saw that movie. Maybe. Pretty sure they're not looking at 2025. Oh my God, they remade The Dutchman. I can't wait to see the new version of it. They don't go to the movies. No one's going to the movies, really, but weird. Just totally weird. It's like Hollywood, they're so desperate for scripts that they'll own so they don't have to pay the dead people who originally wrote them. It's again, and I've said this a million times, it's like the comic book industry. A lot of what I've heard behind the scenes at the big two superhero factories is that nobody can create new characters anymore because they don't want to spend the money to do the trademark and the paperwork, because the lawyers don't want to work. They want to just revive the characters they already own so they don't have to pay as many royalties. So maybe this is the same sort of thing that the movie industry is adapting. If so, from a creative standpoint, it's just a dead end. It's just a dead end. Now that I know all this information, I'm going to say hard no on this. Hard no. No, I'm not going to support this. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan and guest dog Stella asleep in the sunbeam, finally. I will be at Westville Brewery today from 3 to 8 for my Black Friday sale. Oh, it's not just mine. It's South Jersey local businesses. So we're selling our crafts and stuff we made and sell. So you can buy Christmas gifts because it's Black Friday, and instead of going to a crowded mall, you can go into a brewery and sort of hang out, get a beer, and do some shopping. So I hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.